Hello, everybody. Ray Garner from Garner's Games, here to talk about a subject that I feel is really important for new 40K players, and probably for newer 40K players. And that is how to build a specifically Space Marine army that is edition proof. This concept is based off of my original Space Marine army, Ultramarine 3rd Battle Company, which, if you're familiar with the classic Battle Company configuration, is 6 tactical squads, 2 assault squads, 2 devastator squads, captain and chaplain, command squad, and 3 of the dreadnoughts. This army was completed in 3rd edition, started during 2nd. It actually consists of some old lead models to tell you how old it is. And that army is still viable, playable, and competitive in 9th edition. And the main reason for this is its tactical flexibility. Tactical flexibility is something that I see lacking in a lot of newer armies I see when people are starting out. Sometimes even tactical cohesion is missing in some of these armies. And what I mean by that is when you're building your army and you're selecting your troops, it's not necessarily the best option to take the next bright, shiny object that you think, ooh, wow, these would be a cool unit. If it's a cool unit that doesn't help your army, if you are building mainly a foot-slogging army that's going to walk across the field and take things, having a random, invader ATV running around shooting at things may be a waste of points. It's a cool model. It's a cool unit. Very useful in certain situations, but maybe not the best for what your army is trying to do. So I'm going to give you my base concept. We're going to be focused on Primaris Marines, but how to update the concept of my 3rd Battle Company into the new era so that when you build your army in 9th edition and, when you're 50 years old and we're on 17th edition, that your Ultramarine 2nd Battle Company of Primaris still viable, still competitive, still kicking butt. All right, so let's cover this, and I'm going to try to do this on the short so that I don't bore everybody with it. The simple concept is the reason why the Battle Company works so well is the tactical flexibility of the tactical squad. Updating that to Primaris, you're going to, of course, have your intercessors. You're going to have your infiltrators. You're going to have your incursors. You could also have heavy intercessors. But those are really your 4 choices for what we're trying to do. Right now in 9th edition, and probably moving forward, the game has become about controlling objectives. You're going to have an objective in your deployment zone, an objective in your opponent's deployment zone, and 2 side objectives in the middle of the field that the 2 of you are going to fight over. You need to win those fights. Not one of them, both of them. And you need to make it to where your opponent has issues dealing with what you're doing. And while you may think all the different types of Marines are better at different things, and they're very specific. Aggressors do their thing and everything else. However, the core of your army is this guy right here. Per points, right now in the game, there's almost no model better. And the reason for that is that he's good at everything. He's not great at anything in particular. He is good at everything. And what I mean by that is they can take the objectives. They can hold the objectives. There are 3 different primary weapons that they can use, along with the auxiliary grenade launcher to give them a little bit heavier hitting power. So my recommendation and how I would build a hardcore list is I would have 5 units of intercessors. And that's going to be my core troop choices. Because the core troop point should be somewhere between 50 to 55% of your army. So on a 2,000 point army, that's 1,000 to 1,100 points. Sounds like a lot, but this is what allows you to consistently win. You're going to use 2 squads on each sides of intercessors, outfitted the way you feel best. My preferred would be the front squad to have assault auto bolters, your second squad to have your bolt rifles. Move those towards your 2 objectives in the middle of the field. Your 5th squad, which could either be heavy intercessors or the regular intercessors armed with the Starker bolt rifle, they'll control the objective in your deployment zone and provide fire support to the other units. Fire support is a major element of Space Marine armies I don't see used near enough. So once you have this going, you've done with your troop choices. This is what their main objective is to do, is to take the objectives away from your opponent, to score you 15 points a turn. The 1 in your field and the 2 you're fighting over. Now, you say, well, somebody's running 100 orcs at me. Yeah, that's going to happen. That's where these 2 units come in. Your assault intercessor and your reaver. Now, these guys are important because they're the only real hand-to-hand combat the Primaris have right now. They may eventually get some more, but they're the really only ones you have. And I recommend 2 units of assault unit. The reason why is you need assault support on both objectives. Now, you don't need them leading the charge. They are a counter-charge unit. They're going to be behind the squads of intercessors, or they're going to deep strike flanking the opponent in the case of the Reavers. The Reavers, you want the grav chutes, you want the grappling hooks, because you can ignore vertical terrain and you can deep strike close enough to provide support wherever you need, improving your tactical flexibility. If you go after these 2 sides with 20 Marines on each side, and your opponent puts 60 orcs on this side doesn't need extra counter-charge assault forces. So you would deep strike your Reavers over here so that they can counter-charge. And you deep strike them behind your intercessors so that they can provide fire support. Again, I think it's a 15-inch, might be an 18-inch range. I'd have to look that up, but I don't have time right now to do that. But you deep strike them at their maximum range away from the opponent and have them shoot. The reason why is because you're obviously not going to make a 9-inch charge, and you don't want to get charged. Because if you're only 9 inches away, they're going to move 5 or 6 inches, dial her down to 4 to 5 inches to need to charge you. That's a pretty easy dice roll. You don't want to be the one charged. You want to be charging. Then we get to our next deal, fire support units. That's going to be your aggressors. Good old eliminators. Suppressors. Eradicators. Whatever it is you've chosen to be your fire support. It might be a Predator tank. But whatever's going to lay down the firepower, you need 2 units. You need one that is anti-infantry or anti-character. I prefer anti-character with the current setup, but either one is good. And then you need the other one, anti-vehicle. You need to be able to look at somebody's Leman Russ or Repulsor or, Hive Tyrant and make them go away. And you need that in the middle of your army. You need that where your objective is, so that they're providing fire support out onto the other objectives. You can do the Eradicators. I kind of am not sold on the shorter range of the Multi-Meltas, but they hit really hard. So definitely worth considering. And that's going with a massive infantry count army. So basically for your assault and your fire support, you want to dedicate 15 to 20% of your army to each of those categories. That's 300 to 400 points on a 2,000 point army. Final element, of course, is characters. Characters are fun, characters are powerful, and characters are often over-purchased. You end up with too many character models in your army a lot of times. You need to make sure that your characters are adding something to your army. Librarian, making sure that you exist in the psychic phase. Captain, allowing rerolls of ones. Lieutenants, allowing rerolls of ones on wounds. One of my personal favorite deals is to stick a lieutenant near my fire support units because I hate hitting something with a las cannon and rolling a 1 to wound. There's nothing more dissatisfying to me than that. But the key factor is don't go crazy on characters. Unless your character is what you're building your entire army around, like say a Mortarion or something like that, you want to do 10 to 15% of your army only in characters, which is 200 to 300 points. Any more than that, you start cutting down on your troop counts. Realistically, a Primaris army can be about 85 models. That puts you up near Horde army level with Marines. Most people cannot handle that. That is why my 3rd Battle Company has one of my highest win-loss ratios, because when I'm fielding 85 plus Marines and at one point over 100 Marines, it's hard to deal with horde numbers of Marines. And that's what makes that army so proof from going to edition to edition. Like I said, you can tweak, you can change, you can do turrets and dreadnoughts and tanks and whatever, but you need those take the ground, counter charge, and lay in fire support units with characters helping out where they're needed, not just because they look cool. That's my opinion. That's how I think you build an army that will be good for the next 20 years in Warhammer 40K. Please leave a comment, do a like and share, subscribe, all that other good stuff. I'll see you on the battlefield. Thank you all for listening.